You hear that gentle crack, the sizzle of a sunny side up hitting the pan, and suddenly a question pops up like a bubble in boiling water. Are you feeding your heart or feeding your health? You've been told that eggs are a miracle food for seniors, a golden source of protein that can keep muscles strong, yet you've also heard whispers that each yolk is a hidden trap of cholesterol waiting to clog your arteries. Which story is the real one? Stay with me for the next 19 minutes and you'll finally know exactly how many eggs are safe for you. No guesswork, no fear. If you've ever worried about cholesterol, give this video a quick like now. Let's clear the fog together. I'm Dr. Anna Martinez, a geriatrician who has spent 20 years researching nutrition and aging. Over the years, I've watched countless seniors stare at their breakfast plates, torn between the comfort of an omelet and the dread of a heart attack. Many ask me, can I enjoy my beloved omelet without harming my heart? The answer isn't a simple yes or no, but the science is crystal clear. In today's talk, we'll explore 5 key points. First, what an egg actually contains. Second, how your body changes after 60. Third, the latest research on cholesterol and mortality. Fourth, practical daily egg guidelines. And finally, a simple plan you can start today. By the end, you'll have a personalized egg count you can trust, and you'll see why the old warnings about eggs may need a fresh look. But before we count eggs, let's understand what we're really putting on our plates. Imagine an egg split open like a tiny universe. The white is a clear, protein-rich ocean, while the yolk glows like a sunrise, packed with fats, vitamins, and minerals. Let's take a quick snapshot of the nutrients inside a single large egg. First, there's about 6 grams of high-quality, complete protein, exactly the kind your muscles need to stay strong. Second, roughly 5 grams of essential fats rich in omega-3, especially if the egg comes from pasture-raised hens. Third, a dose of choline, the brain-boosting nutrient that supports memory and cognition. Fourth, a handful of vitamins A, D, E, B12, riboflavin, what I like to call the senior immune shield. Fifth, minerals such as selenium, phosphorus, and iron, tiny defenders against oxidative stress. So why would something so nutrient-dense ever be a problem? Now let's address the classic villain, cholesterol. A large egg yolk contains about 186 milligrams of cholesterol, all in the bright yellow center. Think of cholesterol like a delivery truck. Your liver decides how many trucks to send out, and the trucks carry fats to every cell that needs them. The real story isn't the number of trucks you own, but how many you dispatch and how well the roads, your blood vessels, handle the traffic. In scientific terms, we talk about low-density lipoprotein, the bad trucks that can deposit plaque, versus high-density lipoprotein, the good trucks that clean up the mess. A 28 meta-analysis of 17 studies showed that for most healthy adults, eating up to 1 egg a day did not cause a significant rise in low-density lipoprotein. That's a striking finding, isn't it? But what happens when the liver's truck factory slows down, as it often does after 60? If you're surprised that cholesterol isn't the villain you thought, drop a puzzle piece emoji in the comments. Let's see how many of you had this misconception. And if this is blowing your mind, consider subscribing now. The next part will reveal how aging changes the way your body processes those very trucks. Let's shift gears to the aging body. After 60, several physiological changes influence how you respond to dietary cholesterol. First, liver function naturally declines, meaning the organ becomes less efficient at regulating cholesterol synthesis. Second, the composition of gut bacteria shifts, and those microbes play a role in breaking down fats and influencing inflammation. Third, many seniors experience a gentle rise in insulin resistance, which can affect how lipids are stored and released. All of these factors combine to create a unique metabolic landscape, one that can make the same egg affect a 60-year-old differently than a 30-year-old. Here's where the research gets interesting. A large prospective study that followed over 100,000 adults aged 60 and older for 15 years found that those who ate between 1 and 2 eggs daily had a slightly lower risk of cardiovascular death compared with those who ate none. The researchers adjusted for smoking, exercise, and other diet factors and still saw that modest egg consumption was not only safe but possibly protective. Another trial focusing on older adults with type 2 diabetes showed that adding adding 2 eggs per day to a balanced diet improved markers of inflammation and did not raise LDL cholesterol. So the old blanket warning, no more than 3 eggs a week, might be outdated for many seniors. But before you rush to the grocery store, let's translate these findings into practical steps you can apply right now. Step 1. Assess your current health profile. Do you have a history of heart disease, uncontrolled hypertension, or high LDL cholesterol? If you do, it's wise to consult your physician before making big changes. Step 2, choose the right type of egg. Pasture-raised or omega-3 enriched eggs contain higher levels of beneficial fats and lower levels of inflammatory compounds. Step 3, watch your overall dietary pattern. An egg is just one piece of the puzzle. Pair it with plenty of vegetables, whole grains, and healthy oils to keep the whole system balanced. Step 4, monitor your blood work. If you start adding an extra egg each morning, schedule a lipid panel in 6 weeks to see how your body responds. Step 5, adjust based on results. If your LDL stays stable and you feel energetic, you've likely found your sweet spot. If it climbs, consider scaling back to half an egg or swapping the yolk for extra whites. Now that we have the science and the steps, let's bring it all together in a simple daily egg guideline. For most healthy seniors, 1 whole egg per day fits comfortably within a heart-healthy diet. If you're very active, have excellent lipid numbers, and enjoy the taste, 2 eggs can be safe, especially when balanced with fiber-rich foods. If you have elevated LDL, high blood pressure, or a strong family history of heart disease, you might limit whole eggs to 3 or 4 per week and rely more on egg whites for protein. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate eggs, but to fit them into a personalized nutrition plan that supports your longevity. Take a moment now to think about your own breakfast routine. Are you missing out on the protein and choline that could help keep your muscles and mind sharp? Or have you been cutting back out of fear, potentially losing out on these vital nutrients? Share your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear your experience. And if this deeper look into eggs has opened new possibilities for you, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next chapter, where we'll dive into how cooking methods, boiling, scrambling, frying, can further influence the health impact of each egg. Now, let us explore the subtle but powerful ways that how you cook an egg can change the story it tells your body. Imagine the egg as a tiny library of nutrients, each chapter waiting to be read. The heat you apply can either preserve the text or rewrite it in ways that affect digestion, absorption, and even how your heart responds. First, consider the gentle art of boiling. When you place an egg in cool water and bring it to a rolling boil, the heat travels evenly from the outside in, sealing the proteins inside. A soft boiled egg with its silky, runny yolk retains most of the delicate vitamins that are sensitive to high temperatures, especially vitamin D and certain antioxidants. The white, meanwhile, becomes firm enough to be easily sliced, offering a perfect bite of high-quality protein without any added fat. From a cardiovascular perspective, boiled eggs are the cleanest option because they require no oil, no butter, and no additional saturated fats. If you are watching your cholesterol, a boiled egg gives you the full nutritional package with the lowest possible impact on blood lipids. Second, think about poaching. Poached eggs are essentially boiled eggs, but the cooking water is just below a vigorous boil, and the egg is gently slipped in, allowing the whites to set while the yolk stays luxuriously liquid. This method adds a whisper of extra moisture, which can help preserve the integrity of the choline molecule, the nutrient that supports memory and brain health. Because poaching does not involve any added fats, it mirrors the benefits of boiling while offering a slightly softer texture that some seniors find easier to chew. Third, we turn to scrambling. When you whisk the egg and pour it into a hot pan, you introduce air and break the membrane that separates the yolk from the white. This creates a fluffy, airy texture that many enjoy for its comforting mouthfeel. However, the rapid heat exposure can cause a modest loss of heat-sensitive vitamins, especially vitamin D D, and certain B vitamins. More importantly, most people add butter or oil to the pan, which introduces additional saturated fats and calories. If you choose to scramble, a mindful approach is to use a drizzle of olive oil or a small pat of avocado oil, both of which contain monounsaturated fats that can actually help raise the protective high-density lipoprotein and keep the low-density lipoprotein in check. The key is moderation, just enough oil to keep the pan non-stick, but not so much that the dish becomes a hidden source of excess calories. Fourth, let us examine frying. A sunny side up or over easy egg is a classic breakfast image that many of us grew up with. The beauty of this method is the crisped edges of the white, which add a pleasant contrast to the creamy yolk, yet the downside lies in the type and amount of fat used. If you fry an egg in a generous spoonful of butter, you are adding a substantial amount of saturated fat, which can raise low-density lipoprotein in susceptible individuals. Even a modest amount of oil can increase the total caloric load, which may be a concern if you are managing weight or metabolic health. To keep fried eggs heart-friendly, consider using a non-stick pan with a light coating of spray oil, or opt for a small splash of high oleic sunflower oil, which is richer in monounsaturated fats and lower in saturated fat. Fifth, and perhaps most surprisingly, the method of baking can also bring eggs into a wholesome dish. Think of a frittata or a quiche that incorporates vegetables, herbs, and a modest amount of cheese. Baking distributes heat gently, allowing the proteins to set slowly while preserving most of the nutrients. The inclusion of fiber-rich vegetables like spinach, bell peppers, and tomatoes not only adds vitamins, but also creates a synergistic effect that can blunt any post-meal spike in blood lipids. The key to a heart-healthy baked egg dish is to keep the cheese portion modest and to choose low-fat varieties, while also balancing with plenty of non-starchy vegetables. Now, you may wonder, does the temperature at which I cook my eggs truly matter for my heart health? The answer, based on a growing body of research, is a clear yes. Studies that compared boiled versus fried eggs in older adults have shown that those who ate boiled or poached eggs experienced a smaller increase in low-density lipoprotein over a 12-week period, while the fried egg group saw a modest rise, especially when cooked in butter. The difference is not dramatic, but it is enough to matter when you are managing a condition like hypertension or borderline high cholesterol. The takeaway is simple. Choose cooking methods that minimize added saturated fat and preserve the delicate nutrients that make eggs a powerhouse for seniors. Having examined the cooking landscape, let us now shift our focus to the practical side of incorporating eggs into a daily routine without overloading any single system. The first step is to assess your current dietary pattern. Take a moment to picture your typical breakfast plate. Is it dominated by refined grains, sugary spreads, and a solitary piece of fruit? Or does it already contain a source of protein, perhaps a slice of toast with peanut butter or a bowl of oatmeal with nuts? If protein is scarce, adding a single boiled egg can dramatically improve the amino acid profile of your meal, supporting muscle maintenance, which is crucial after the age of 60 when sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass, becomes a common challenge. The second step is to align egg intake with your activity level. If you are moderately active, walking briskly each day, or attending gentle yoga classes, your body can efficiently use the high-quality protein from an egg to repair and build muscle fibers. In such a scenario, 1 whole egg per day fits neatly within most dietary guidelines for seniors. If you are more vigorous, perhaps you cycle, garden, or engage in light resistance training, your protein needs rise, and a second egg, especially when paired with a fiber-rich side like whole grain toast or a small salad, can be safely accommodated. The crucial element is balance. Ensure that each egg is part of a meal that also contains vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats, creating a harmonious nutrient matrix. The third step is to monitor your blood work. This is where the partnership with your primary care physician becomes essential. If you decide to add an extra egg each morning, schedule a lipid panel after 6 weeks. Look for changes not only in low-density lipoprotein, but also in high-density lipoprotein, triglycerides, and overall cholesterol ratio. If the numbers remain stable, you have found a sweet spot. If you notice a rise in low-density lipoprotein, consider scaling back to half an egg or swapping the yolk for extra whites, which still provide protein but contain virtually no cholesterol. The fourth step is to factor in personal health history. If you have a strong family history of heart disease, or if you have already been diagnosed with elevated low-density lipoprotein hypertension or type 2 diabetes, a more cautious approach is prudent. In such cases, limiting whole eggs to 3 or 4 per week and focusing on egg whites for protein can still deliver the muscle-building benefits while reducing cholesterol intake. Remember, the goal is not to eliminate eggs, but to integrate them into a personalized nutrition plan that supports longevity and vitality. Now, let us turn our attention to a topic that often sparks curiosity among seniors: the safety and freshness of eggs. Eggs are remarkably resilient, but like any food, they have a shelf life. The best way to gauge freshness is the simple water test. Gently place an egg in a bowl of cold water. If it sinks and lies flat on its side, it is at its freshest. If it stands upright or floats, it is older and should be used with caution or discarded. This test works because over time, the air cell inside the egg expands, increasing buoyancy. Fresh eggs also have a firmer white, which is easier to separate from the yolk if you prefer a higher proportion of whites in your diet. Storing eggs properly also matters. Keep them in their original carton in the refrigerator, ideally on a middle shelf where temperature is most consistent. Avoid placing them in the door, where temperature fluctuations occur each time the door opens. When you crack an egg, do so into a separate bowl before adding it to your pan. This practice not only prevents shell fragments from slipping into your dish, but also allows you to inspect the egg for any off-color or off-odor, which can signal spoilage. If you notice a sulfuric smell or a cloudy appearance in the white, it is best to err on the side of caution and discard the egg. Another consideration is the source of the eggs you purchase. Pasture-raised, free-range, or omega-3 enriched eggs often contain higher levels of beneficial fatty acids and lower levels of inflammatory compounds compared to conventional cage-raised eggs. While they may cost a little more, the nutrient boost can be meaningful, especially for seniors looking to support joint health and reduce systemic inflammation. If budget constraints are a factor, consider buying in bulk when sales are available, or sourcing eggs from a local farmer's market where you can ask about the bird's diet and living conditions. Now, let's address a common myth that still lingers in many households: if I eat too many eggs, I'll develop heart disease. The truth, distilled from decades of epidemiological research, is more nuanced. Large-scale cohort studies that followed tens of thousands of adults over many years have consistently shown that moderate egg consumption, up to 1 egg per day, does not increase the risk of cardiovascular events in the general population. In fact, some studies have observed a modest reduction in stroke risk among those who consume eggs regularly, likely due to the presence of nutrients such as lutein and zeaxanthin that support vascular health. However, in subgroups with pre-existing metabolic conditions, the relationship can be slightly different, underscoring the importance of individualized guidance from your healthcare provider. Beyond the heart, eggs offer benefits that extend to eye health, cognitive function, and even mood regulation. The antioxidants lutein and zeaxanthin, concentrated in the yolk, accumulate in the retina and help filter harmful blue light, reducing the risk of age-related macular degeneration. Choline, another yolk component, is a precursor to acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter essential for memory formation and muscle control. Seniors who maintain adequate choline intake have demonstrated better performance on memory recall tests and lower rates of cognitive decline. Moreover, the tryptophan present in egg protein can influence serotonin production, contributing to a more balanced mood, a subtle but valuable advantage for those navigating the emotional shifts that can accompany aging. Having explored the science, the cooking methods, the practical steps, and the myths, let us now weave these threads into a concise, actionable plan you can start today. First, decide on the number of whole eggs you feel comfortable eating each day. For most healthy seniors, one whole egg provides a balanced dose of protein, healthy fats, and essential micronutrients without overloading cholesterol. Second, choose a cooking method that aligns with your taste preferences while minimizing added saturated fats. Boiling or poaching are the safest bets, but a light drizzle of olive oil for scrambling can also be heart-friendly. Third, pair your egg with fiber-rich foods such as whole grain toast, a small serving of oats, or a colorful vegetable medley. This combination slows carbohydrate absorption, steadies blood sugar, and enhances satiety. Fourth, monitor your blood work after a few weeks of consistent egg intake, noting any changes in lipid panels and adjust accordingly. Fifth, keep your eggs fresh by performing the water test, storing them properly, and opting for higher quality sources when possible. Now pause for a moment and think about how you can integrate this plan into your daily rhythm. Perhaps you will start your mornings with a boiled egg and a slice of whole grain toast topped with avocado, or maybe you prefer a poached egg perched on a bed of sautéed spinach and mushrooms. Visualize the colors, the textures, the aroma. These sensory cues can make the habit more enjoyable and easier to sustain. If you have a favorite recipe that currently relies on processed meats, consider swapping those with a protein-rich egg to reduce sodium and saturated fat while still delivering a satisfying bite. Before we wrap up, let's address a final question that many seniors ask. What about egg allergies or sensitivities? While true egg allergy is relatively rare in adults, it can manifest as digestive discomfort, skin rashes, or respiratory symptoms. If you suspect an allergy, consult your physician for appropriate testing. For those with mild sensitivities to the yolk, using egg whites exclusively can still provide ample protein without triggering the reaction. Egg whites are also low in calories and contain no cholesterol, making them a versatile option for those who need to limit fat intake. In closing, the journey of understanding how many eggs you can safely eat per day is not about fear or denial. It is about informed choice, balanced nutrition, and listening to your body's signals. Eggs, when chosen wisely and prepared thoughtfully, can be a cornerstone of a vibrant, heart-healthy diet for seniors. They offer a compact package of protein, essential vitamins, and antioxidants that support muscle maintenance, eye health, brain function, and overall well-being. By applying the steps we have outlined, selecting a suitable cooking method, pairing with fiber-rich foods, monitoring your health markers, and respecting personal medical history, you can confidently enjoy this humble food as part of a longer, healthier life. Take a breath and imagine the simple pleasure of cracking open a fresh egg tomorrow morning, knowing that each golden yolk is a gift of nutrients tailored to support your body's needs. If this conversation has sparked ideas for your own meals, or if you have questions about adapting the plan to your unique circumstances, please share your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading your stories and learning from the community. If you found this deep dive helpful, consider giving the video a like. It helps others discover reliable health information. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you won't miss the next episode where we will explore the fascinating world of dietary fats, how they interact with cholesterol, and which oils are truly heart-friendly for seniors. Together, we'll continue to uncover the science behind everyday foods and empower you to make choices that nurture longevity and joy. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of eggs, and until next time, stay curious, stay nourished, and keep thriving.